Hello, this is wmpyr. All right, so this is my final thoughts on the training with John video. I've milked this video long enough, so yeah, this is the entire video that we shot. We trained a little bit more after this, after where it stops, but yeah, I don't have that on footage. So yeah, this is almost a 30-minute video, and this is actually me coaching him, guiding him, helping him out. And the first important thing that I want you guys to understand is with this video, I'm hoping that a lot of you guys can see this, see the actual, because this is real training footage, me trying to help him out here. And uh, is for you guys to see this and go, you know what? I think I can do this, that it's doable, that it doesn't look intimidating, it doesn't look super complex, it doesn't look scary, that you go, yeah, this looks like fun. This definitely looks doable. I want those skills kind of thing. So that's number one is to help encourage you guys and inspire you guys. Okay, I'm not trying to show off or I'm not trying to look uh, like a badass or someone not to mess with. That's not the goal, and I think insecure people do that kind of stuff anyway. So actually quite the opposite. I'm trying to be as friendly as possible. I'm trying to not look scary. Even my posture, I'm trying to look more like an old man, and my movements here, I feel like, man, I look so old. But yeah, that was because in my mind I kept thinking not to be that way, not to be a hard ass. Okay. Um, so Mr. John here, I think this was his third time practicing with me, and the first two times maybe they were like 30 minutes each time, maybe an hour for one of them, and so this time, the third time, we trained for about an hour in total. Like I said, there's so I guess it's like 30 minutes missing from this video. So you can see that he has done the Heaven 6 before because he's able to do it here with me. He's comfortable with it. Um, the Heaven 6 is something that can be a little tricky for some people, especially if you don't have someone to practice with or like a teacher that's right there with you. But even then, it can be tricky. I've seen some people, they struggle with it. And then there's other people that pick it up really fast. Mr. John is one of those people that he picked it up very quickly. But, you know, all that means is that there's strengths and weaknesses, there's pros and cons. Everybody has areas they're good at, and they have areas they're going to be weak at. So don't let that discourage you. Okay, if Heaven 6 is not your thing, that's okay. You just keep working at it because it is a valuable skill. I've seen tons of videos, martial arts videos, self-defense videos, about knife combat all over YouTube, and obviously I've studied this stuff in person, in books, all kinds of different ways. And I can tell you that there's nothing that I've seen that I feel like that the original art of Kali, Eskrima, and Arnis cannot provide. Now, that being said, you definitely do have to modify it, evolve it, progress it, and make it fit you. But that is actually part of the art. The people that don't do that are the ones that are trying to preserve the original art, and that serves a different purpose. But it was taught to me that there is a traditional version and then there is a modern version. And the modern version is where you make it your own. And if you do that, I'm telling you right now that there's nothing that I've seen, all the latest, newest, cutting edge, where people say this is the best knife style, this is the most brutal, the most violent, this is how you take out an opponent in real life, and the most realistic, effective. There is nothing that I've seen that fits in that category that the original Kali Eskrima artist can't do. And one of the most basic things is what he's doing right here, the angles of attack and the heaven six, super basic stuff. But if you put in the proper time and you train, you get to the level where you could train on a tire with a real blade and use combat force, okay, actual combat force, then that is the way to go. And like I said, that is the most violent, brutal techniques that a human being can have. It's physics. It's the way we're built. It won't change anything. So it comes down to that. Do you have that? But the thing is, the problem with that is just a tool. And the first thing we do in Filipino martial arts is that we learn the offense in order to learn the defense. Okay, so that's what he's doing right here. You see him, he's practicing the offense on me right here. And you learn that. And like I said, I seen so many people on YouTube that they learn something like the Heaven Six, and then I see them do it in the air with speed or with the sticks in the air, and it looks so cool and fast, and they look awesome, and they're feeling awesome, and they're feeling like they're a superhero or something, and the body mechanics is poor, and just with that alone, no, absolutely, you're not going to be effective. Even if you had the opportunity to use that on somebody, the bad guy, chances are it's not going to be that as effective as you're thinking. Why? Because like I said, you need to train like on a tire, something that's hard and unforgiving, and really master your grip and really be able to apply combat force, really work on your cardio, because if you are going to go fast, because you need to go fast, you're going to have to be able to handle all that, and the body mechanics need to be there. So there's just no shortcut. There is no magic technique. There is no magic style. It's just being able to practice that. And it's really not hard. It's not hard to practice it, but you do have to do it. There's no shortcuts, okay? So the problem with that is that if you do that kind of training, when it comes to a self-defense situation, the need for that may never arise. A self-defense situation is different. The attacking stuff is if you're going to attack somebody. And in a self-defense situation, you're going to have to defend, survive, and get out of there. What was this special forces guy? He said, run, hide, and then attack if you need to. So attack is out of the three, it's on the bottom, the very, very bottom of the totem pole right there. So it's run, hide, and then attack if you absolutely have to. So like I said, we start with attacking skills in order to help us kind of understand what the heck we're dealing with. It's not so much that this is what we're going to do to the other guy, because the other guy is the bad guy. He's attacking us. We have kind of, in a way, we don't really have the intention to attack. So right here, this is the important part where now I'm focusing on the defense. This is the stuff that he needs to understand, because when he does get attacked, the Heaven Six, using that offensively is probably not going to help him. It's going to be able to come down to this kind of skill, which you got to be able to evade, you got to be able to block. But in the Filipino martial arts, their idea is defang the snake, which is attack the attack. And what is important there is that, and this is where I had to make it my own and modify that to where I can explain it to people, and also it makes sense to me back in the day, and also makes sense to people that I'm teaching it to, is that if you attack the attack, that means you're attacking. And if you're attacking, then in your brain, you don't know the difference between an attack and defend. It's just, okay, he's attacking me, so I just attack. And if you don't understand that, that means you're gonna brawl. And that is the last thing you want to do. So that's Filipino martial arts done wrong. Is if you don't really study it deeply enough, or you don't have a teacher that can explain it to you properly, then you go, yeah, I'm gonna defang the snake. Okay, yeah, I attacked the attack, and you're just gonna exchange shots with the bad guy, and probably the bad guy is bigger, stronger, meaner, and they get to go first because they're the bad guy. So in that case, yeah, you brawling with him or going toe to toe with him is the absolute wrong idea, and that is not what Filipino martial arts is about. That's Filipino martial arts interpreted incorrectly, in my opinion. So what I'm showing here, if you look from a traditional point of view, actually the force-to-force block, which is you grab the stick with both hands and block like that, that was actually taught to me in traditional Filipino martial arts. But I do have to admit that it wasn't emphasized. They wanted to immediately go into the counter stuff, immediately go into defang the snake. But in my eyes, where I was doing full contact, I was like, no, if you're going to do boxing, kickboxing, you need to know blocking. You need to know parrying. It's not the guy throws a jab and I jab at his jab. It's no, they don't do that. Why? Because you have to know the difference first. You kind of have to have the foundation. So this is why I'm teaching him this from a Filipino martial arts perspective. From the traditional curriculum, some people may go, Vampire, what the heck you're doing? Well, I know what I'm doing. Like I said, from a full contact perspective, after I've made this stuff my own, I understood you need to understand block. You need to understand parry. You need to understand defense. And then from there, we're going to start going into, defang the snake. Okay. Now, once you understand blocking, parrying, and the defense, now we can start going into offense. Because if you only learn offense and then you teach the guy, okay, defang the snake, I think it's very easy to get that confused. And then, like I said, that leads to one thing, trading shots. And that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So that's why I'm trying to make it very clear to him. And then from here, once I started showing him the defensive aspect, then I was noticing that it was kind of difficult for him to understand now the defang the snake element, because now his mind was kind of like, okay, it's defense, so I'm purely defensive, and I understand that, and it takes time, is what it does. But like I said, Mr. John here is a beginner. And the way that I'm teaching him is kind of presenting him the big picture. Okay, I'm presenting to him the big picture rather than go into details and say, just do this drill, just do this exercise, just repeat this technique over and over and over, and he doesn't really know why. Okay, now a beginner may not have the tools to understand why, but and I understand that. But for me, it's important to kind of give the big picture, and hopefully some of that will sink in. I don't know what exactly will sink in. I'll start to be able to see through his actions and through the drills that we do, but everybody's different. So I do like to present the big picture, and we're not at the phase yet of now let's start doing drills and just focus on those drills. He's not at that level yet. So I'm still presenting him the overall idea so he can start to kind of get a feel, not completely understand. I know that's not going to happen, but he starts to get a feel of, oh, okay, this is what Kali Eskrima Arnis is about. I kind of start to get it, and so that's why I'm doing it. And that's why I do explain, but I'm very careful because I don't want it to be for 30 minutes I'm talking and he's just watching. I hate that. I absolutely hate that. Or just me demonstrating, 50% of the time and he's just sitting there. There's definitely things I do need to explain, but I definitely want him to be getting the repetitions and the exercise. I want him to participate. as much as possible. So I try to do that as best as I can, even though there's a lot I have to say and I want to say, but a good way to teach somebody nothing is to show them everything, right? So I'm aware of that, and I have to be very careful of that. So right here, once again, I'm trying to show him, and that few seconds that you just saw just now is super important. Is that I'm defending, but if you watch the way I'm defending, they're quick strikes. So if my opponent gives me quick strikes, I defend quickly using a force-to-force block, which is defense, but it's still offense. And that is the tricky part, is for you guys to understand. Defang the snake is so easy to say, and people parrot it, but do they really understand it? Because if you think about it, there's a dilemma going on there. Attack the attack. So I'm attacking while the other guy's attacking. How come that doesn't lead to we're both attacking each other? Well, it is kind of. Well, if you're both attacking each other, why aren't we both jacked up? I mean, don't I need to protect myself? See, so all those things need to be answered, okay? So that's why moving your body away becomes more important than the actual attack itself. So, but you have to understand, to be able to move my body out of there, that means I'm able to fully see the opponent's attack. If the opponent attacks quickly, then I don't have time to move the body away. I mean, so there's a lot of things like that we start going into detail that you have to understand. And he's not ready for all that, but at this point I was trying to explain to him that the first thing that he does need to know is that there are two types of attacks he's going to deal with. Number one is a full swing, which I'm doing right here. Then number two is a quicker type of attack. And for the quicker type of attack, you're not going to be able to put your body out of there. Your body's not going to be able to have much. It's just going to be more of an arm movement type of thing. And with a more powerful full swing type attack, you will need to put your body into it, have good structure. And if you don't, you're going to get hit. And not only that, you do have to move out of the way. That was another thing that I showed him, that because of the follow through, even if he blocks the initial hit, the follow through can still get him. And that's super important. And that's something I'll be looking for if I ever have to fight somebody in full contact or on the street. I'll see how they're defending my attacks. And if they are not using their body positioning, body angle correctly, then I will be using follow-throughs to still land my strike, even though they block my attack. In fact, I hope they're good enough to block my attack, but I'll be taking them out on the follow-through. So it's things like that I'll be looking for. And people have asked me before, is it such a smart idea to swing fully? If you do a full swing, doesn't it make it easier for the opponent to see what you're doing? It's a yes and no, and there are benefits. It's all about using it at the right time and using it to your benefit. So if you're able to, it's like boxing. Boxing is not, it doesn't cover all of combat, but if I'm able to use boxing at the right time and make the self-defense situation into a boxing match, then if I'm a boxer, then I 100% have the advantage because I made it into a boxing match. So it's all about using what you know at the right time and making it into that kind of situation, right? So it's not about, oh, is it perfect or does it cover everything? No, that's not what it's about. So it's about making the situation in the right situation for your tools. So the next thing right here is now going into like an empty hand, which, you know, this might be a little too advanced for the guy, but I wanted him to get a feel of what it's like. Now we're going from knife to stick. And at this point, you could see in the video that he still hasn't had enough stick training, because if he had, when he's going with the knife, there really shouldn't be the difference. It should automatically be there. So when you go from stick to knife, yes, you're going to go, whoa, this is pretty different feeling, but you should be able to fall back onto your stick training and go, you know what? This is like the stick. So if you don't feel that and you're just going, oh my gosh, this is so different, then you need more stick training. All right. So that is one of the beauty of Kali Eskrima Arnis is the connection right there with stick, knife, empty hand, and pretty much any kind of one-handed weapon. So I just want him, like I said, to get him to feel. And so I'm feeding it to him very nice and slowly so there is no fear buildup in the guy. I don't want to assault him with a knife and go, you see, that's how dangerous a knife is. And then he's going to be like, crap, there's nothing I can do. I don't want that, okay? I do want him to respect the blade and I do want him to understand how dangerous it is, but at the same time, I don't want him to feel like completely hopeless either. So, there is a fine line there. So what we're working on here is that he still doesn't have the enough stick training, so his postures are the body mechanics are not there. He's bringing the head down way too low, and I'm trying to show him if you bring the head down too low, then you're gonna get manipulated. So you have to defend that. Even if the attack is low, you got to bring the body down and make sure you're not just looking down completely. It changes your body mechanics and it makes you very vulnerable. So, and the other thing that I've noticed here is that this is a crash course for the guy. This is his first experience with a guy coming at him with a knife like this, even if it's nice and slow, like the way that I'm doing. So he's full throttle. For him, this is just instinct. And his instinct, and this is probably the same for a lot of people, is I'm saying defend against my knife attack and use your stick training, but his instinct is to grab the attacking hand. So he is grabbing each time right here, he's grabbing, okay? And for a lot of people, that is probably going to be the case. It's actually very, very natural to do so. And the lesson, there's a lot of good lessons here. And one of the important lessons I had to tell him was in medium range, you cannot grab. Okay. The only way you're going to be able to do that, and this is to me is huge, and I don't know how else to tell you guys, black and white. In medium range, you do not grab. Okay. Because medium range is pretty much where all the punches, the Muay Thai kicks, all that stuff can land. So if you're grabbing my wrist, I'm punching your face. If you grab my wrist, I have a knife, I'm cutting you in the throat, okay? I'm cutting you. So I'm stabbing you, I'm cutting you. The grab, even if you grab the hand that does have the knife, okay, it's a temporary grab. It's not a solid grab. It's not the clinch yet. In the clinch, yes, you could tie up the person. In boxing, they call it a tie-up. So what do boxers do? When they're taking too many hits, when the other guy is landing too much, they tie up, right? So, I mean, no wonder Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was so effective because they saw that and they go, okay, that boxers do that, we'll do the same thing, except we'll take them to the ground after the clinch. So it doesn't change. We're two human beings. The physics, everything to me is the same. So if the guy has a knife or the guy has a punch and he can hit very hard, knock me out with one hit, I don't see the difference between that and a knife. A knife could take me out with one hit. His punch could take me out with one hit. To me, it's the same thing. So I need to tie up his arm because I don't want to get punched. He'll take me out with one hit, whether it's to the body or to the face. The guy could take me out really with one hit. It's going to be game over. I'll be knocked out or I'll be on the floor in pain, TKO if it's a body shot. And then he could curb stomp me or start stomping on my head, soccer kick my head. So it would be devastating. It's no different than a knife attack, in my opinion. If like I'm up against someone that's over 200 pounds and has a good punch. And you never know if the person that you're up against has that. So in that case, I need to tie up the arms or stay way far away in long range. So in medium range, you don't mess with it. So right here, I'm showing him that in long range, that it's no different as what we were doing with the sticks, that the idea is the same, that I am cutting or I'm using my empty hand, I'm not grabbing, that it is the same as if I had a stick. So I am attacking his arm, but it's defense for sure. It's defense. So that's why we went through the force to force block, but I am slashing at his attack. I am and right here, I'm in the clinch here. I'm saying if you're going to grab, you got to be in the clinch. You can't grab from medium range. Now, this is long range right here, okay? And I'm telling him, go for it. Grab my knife, grab my hand, do whatever it takes. Just stop me. Don't let me cut you. Don't let me stab you. And you can see it doesn't take me much effort, but I'm able to get in my shots. No problem. And he has no control. He's not able to grab. So I was trying to show him that. Now right here, this is still long range. Now you might go, well, doesn't that look like medium range? In training, we're getting, a lot of times it is done in medium range, but the idea there is that now I'm in the clinch. This is close range. But the idea here is in training, you do it in medium range because it's easier to explain that way. But in reality, you got to be in long range. And the key about long range is, yeah, I could be a mile away. That's long range. Sure. I could be 5 miles away. I could be on the other side of the world, or I could be a football field away. But those don't help, okay? What is important is how close can I get to this guy and still be out of range? That's what I need to know. And boxers know this, so they inch up to the guy and they know when they're in danger and they know when they're just a slightly got enough time to where they can use their reflexes and evade. So they're constantly playing with fire. Boxers and kickboxers, they constantly go from long range to medium range, and most of the time they are in medium range, okay? So boxers do this. They already know, they train this. That's normal for them. They have that understanding there. But, you know, sometimes with the knife, the reach changes and stuff, and you have to know that you are playing with fire. Boxers may not even know that they're playing with fire. They just know that that's what they need to do. And if they're too far away, which is better for you defensively, they know that they're going to be deducted a point. They'll be warned by a referee and stuff like that. So they're forced to do the opposite. But in self-defense, that's not the case. So boxers have it harder. They're told to go into hell. They're told to go into medium range. So in self-defense, it's the opposite. We don't need to do that, all right? If it is forced upon us and we can't go back into long range, then we will go into close range. So understanding the ranges here is incredibly, incredibly important. So now I'm showing him the Heaven 6, trying to get him some more reps, but this time with the knife, which he is definitely not comfortable with. The sticks Heaven 6, he's a lot more comfortable with. The sticks like kind of almost force you, teach you to do it correctly. Now with the knife, it's a lot harder for him to do it, and he's actually he's messing up. And part of that is because the Heaven 6 can be done two different ways. Even with the sticks, it could be done with the swing and it could be done with the strike. So this is the end of the video, and I just kind of wanted to run you guys through this entire process here, and hopefully it'll give you guys some ideas of what you should be focusing on, because there's so much material for Filipino martial arts, but it should give you an idea of like I said, to apply this for self-defense, at least in concept-wise. We're not there yet for actual drilling and whatnot, but concept-wise to what you need to understand. I hope I covered it in the video. And please note that I'm not going against the traditional martial arts. You can see it in the video. I have to teach the traditional Kali Eskrima Arnis, and then from there, I also teach the modern, which is my version. So they both go together, but I do try to keep it separate so people do understand the difference there. So anyway, that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.